We are back for another session today of the Automator Series, and I'm with Abigail today, and she's a holistic energy coach, a Yin Yoga and Yoga Nidra instructor, a Reiki master, breathwork facilitator, and she's the founder of Empowered Living. So she's obviously very busy with lots of things, lots of experience. And firstly, thanks so much for taking the time to sit down today.
Thank you for your invitation.
Yeah, I'm sure also from just literally the first couple of minutes, well, couple of seconds, people can tell you very, very chilled, which is really awesome, and probably part of also your yoga background and breath work and all of that. But I'm going to hand it over to you. Just kind of say hey to everyone, give a bit of an introduction to yourself, what you focus on, what you got going on.
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Abigail. So yes, I do. I am a Yin Yoga instructor, and I do believe in my practices actually go under one direction, is that calm is a superpower, and using practices, ancient and tweaking them into our modern lifestyle. I help people create rituals that are sustainable and not time consuming, and help them decrease, overall stress or improve sleep. Sorry, my cat is in the background. and it really led. I came to these practices through my own personal experience. So I'm 45 years old, and I believe that my practices have, keep me in good shape, and the consistency of it keeps my mind and body really balanced in a certain way that also helps and resonates to some beliefs. And I don't know what other question you asked. Sorry.
No, that's I think that definitely gave a lot of insight. Because you've even, if people check out your stuff, they would have seen you've also even done TED Talks about some of these sustainability topics and everything. So it is your lifestyle. Like, that's really what you're about. And in regards to the actual work you're doing with the breath work and the facilitation and helping people live these more rounded lives, are you working with specific types of people, or how did you kind of come to the people you're working with?
Yes, I tend to work more with women. I focus on women for now, because from my own experience and personally, I can relate more. But I do have occasional male clients, and I help women go through transition and change. This is what. In constant change, like we are, emotional, physical change, professional change, everything shifts, everything's interconnected. And so use the mind-body techniques, it's like such a overused term, but it's so true. And it's as simple as that, using mind-body techniques and tools to create stable ground, and that nurturing that from within, giving them the tools to empower themselves from within. Because when we go through change, it's overwhelm comes in, and with that comes insecurity and loss of confidence. It can be really, and affecting, healthy, like the health, the body, like the digestion and the whole thing. It can be really, really hard. So I focus on sharing and helping my clients to practice, to incorporate bite-sized practices that give them the inner power and the strength and the reconnection, because we are not sometimes not very connected to ourselves. And there's simple tools also, surrounding yourself with plants, or using essential oils that are just bringing us into a space and evoking some emotions that are to uncover, reveal, but also to others to enhance. So it's mostly women. I do have a range of age, which is interesting, because I thought that I would resonate mostly with women my age, 45 plus, but I actually have quite a lot of the younger generation, 25 plus. So who are also in regards to what's happening in the world, you know, it's like so different to when I was 25. They go through changes, and with that comes, you know, fear and overwhelm and so on, at their age, and so I'm really happy that I can you know, help them navigate and strengthen their inner core. You know, we're working on the chi, on the inner, the life force. That's the yoga comes in, but also the breath work, or obviously any kind of yogic movement or practice, and other meditation and so on. There's just so many things. I mean, it looks like, you know, there's an overwhelm of tools, but it's actually not. They're all really, really interlinked and can be combined into one practice, to shorter ones or longer ones, so that it's not necessarily something that you have to keep on your to-do lists for the end of the week, you know, like this big thing or this big, you know, it's like, no, it's just something you do.
No, that's amazing. Because so you mentioned obviously focusing on women mostly, some men sprinkled in there, but mostly women with transition and change. So it sounds like it could almost be some women, you're helping them transition through the emotional changes and things of menopause. And then for the younger crowd, potentially maybe when they move jobs, it's just that wide range of experiences.
Yes, because in the end we share the same feelings, the same emotions. You know, obviously hormonal balance, you know, comes with different health issues and so on. But in the end, we are made, we have different experience. We're totally authentic, we're unique, we have our own stories, we have our own mindset and you know, busy thoughts and whatever it is. But in the end, how it lands in the body, it's the same. You know, the feelings we share are the same. So that's why the tools, the method I've developed is something that's very versatile. I've recently started. I did a series on the pajama yoga. I did the pajama yoga, which is called just the morning yoga, the morning ritual, 30 minutes out of bed in pajamas on the mat, bed head, whatever. I did that because it was a little bit, I found the industry was getting a bit very serious, and it's very competitive and all that. But I was like, I wanted to bring in some lightness. And we were in confinement, and I said, we're all anyway walking around in pajamas the whole day, or tracksuits or whatever, and so I do that every day, and it's just you show up as you are, you know. You show up as you are, and everybody is through the practices can honor their authentic self, even physically. And I love the practice of Yin Yoga, you know, based on traditional Chinese medicine, with all the meridians and energy channels and how it's linked. But I also love it for the simple fact that there are directions, and then there's you adapt it to your need, physical body, you know. And so I always like to say it's a bit like learning French language. You have the grammar, and then you have, you know, you think you've nailed it, and then they come with a massive list of exceptions
and rules.
And you're like, okay, there we go. And that's life, and that's us, and that's beautiful. And so that's why. So there's different tools and different things, you combine them, and just doing things regularly. I can't remember what the question was, but it's interesting. It's interesting, and to seeing how they evolve also, because now we did this pajama series on shedding weight, and I got some reactions because I've always been very slim. I've actually been called names that are not really cool when you call somebody, you know, super slim when I was growing up, and it's not cool because you wouldn't call somebody who's anyway. But I took it in a different level, a different direction. It's shedding weight, obviously physically, but also mentally and energetically, emotionally.
Yeah.
And it's been really interesting to see my clients navigate through that and shed weight, you know, like in various ways. And I've discovered this new breathing technique that was discovered by chance, which I actually love the story. It was discovered by chance by a Japanese actor who was suffering with back pain, and the doctor prescribed this breathing technique, and he said, okay, he did that, and back pain soothed because he was obviously working his core, right, and also going into the parasympathetic nervous system, relaxing and so on. And the side effects was one of the, you know, was that. Of course, there's more hormonal balance, pH level, all that. But so I created this challenge, flat belly challenge, and it's like something I never thought I would do. But I love the fact that it's reaches out to different clientele also, but also they realize that, you know, who wants to go take a class 21 days to relax? It's like, yeah, we do that one evening and then we're fine. You know, but this benefit of breath work, you know, and that it is particularly breath work, is absolutely amazing. And it's just these things that you can just practice and weave into your day.
But no, I think people would definitely pick up from what you've been saying so far, because you also mentioned right at the start that a lot of this came from your personal journey and personal development. So it sounds like as you've been working on yourself, it sounds like you had some stuff when you were younger and people throwing some bad things your way, and then you went on your own self-development journey, and you've gone and researched those things, you've looked into those things, and that's how you've come to like integrate all these different practices that you've found really useful for yourself. And like, oh wow, I think someone else is gonna let me kind of teach the people I'm working with, or I think other people are going to gain from that. Sounds a bit like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think personal experience, it's really it's what really brought me to many different places. It brought me to living in France, you know, when I left home when I was 16, and I lived alone, and it brought me to stopping over in Paris on my way to London to go to St. Martin's College, and I ended up in Paris, and I ended up being scouted and modeling and traveling the world, and then living in Japan for 15 years, you know. And the experience brought me to you know, so a more personal big relationship change, and which was like propelled me to you know, first of all it was pushing me down, but in the end it just propelled me to where I am now. And you know, you discover your you know, you hear about it, you discover your strengths through hardship. And it's true, it is true. It doesn't mean you have to experience everything in order to gain your strength, but I think you know, some people can, or clients can just listen to me or see me or you know, and then they can avoid maybe some of the things, or just connect to their strengths in their way, because with their story and so on. So, but it definitely led me back on the mat, back to yoga, because I was practicing that when I was 18 and was doing Ashtanga, and then I kind of drifted, used to, you know, practiced only on holidays when I was some beautiful place like you are in Bali. It was like, yeah, let's do some yoga. It's like, and now it's every day. Yeah, and led me to discover all these different things, and also incorporating the scents into my life. And I've been using essential oils always, and herbs. And I'm not a specialist in I wouldn't say I'm aromatherapist, but I use them intuitively, and I blend them. And now I'm launching my own brand, and because I have clients who's just requesting me for personal scents, or the scents that I was diffusing in the aroma yoga I'm hosting in a beautiful place in Paris. And so that just became, you know, it's also this personal life experience again that led me to it's just sharing the good things.
You mentioned some really powerful things there, and that's been a big theme I've picked up on from essentially almost all the people I've spoken to, is a lot of them just got into working with others, teaching others based on just their own experiences. Like you said, it's like there's value in your experiences, there's value in your hardships, because you could potentially soften those hardships for others who are about to go through that, or you can help them guide through it. Like, hey, there is another side, there is a way, this is what worked for me. And it's just sharing what you've experienced, what you've learned, your own inquisitiveness. And that seems to be the journey a lot of people have followed. Even some who were like in a very corporate environment, they like became known as that person who was involved in different things. I think your journey from modeling to this was quite interesting. Like, how did that kind of happen? Was that quite a smooth transition, or was it quite like hard? Like, modeling and that world ended and you're like coaching time. How did that kind of look?
Oh no, there was lots of phases in between. Modeling was great to discover the world and to travel. I've been wanting to go to LA since I was like, watch the streets of San Francisco growing up or something. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so it gave me the chance to go, travel and work and earn my, be independent. Yeah. It's really great. And also gave me the chance to look into different worlds and different jobs and all these creative people, which is absolutely fabulous. But when I stopped that, I did some PR, and when I moved to Japan, I had my daughter with me. She was already 1, so basically my life was very different. And becoming a mom is something that it's also, you just thrown into the deep end and you're like, okay, now swim, yeah. And you don't really sure what direction to go. And then doing that in a culture that is so different to where I grew up and how I grew up in a different language was really hard. So I created a world around my children. I had my son afterwards too. And so I created, also I was looking for sustainable fashion and educational tools or toys, not tools, tools.
And these
toys,
things were always out of your own interest. You were just, I'm ready.
Yeah,
been
they were needed and it wasn't there. And so I created a first international or bilingual pop-up online shop called Abi Loves. That's where Abi Loves came in. It's like picking stuff, like Abi loves this. And I was getting the things from all these different beautiful creative people from around the world. So importing them to Japan and then to sell them to because nobody knew those things. And sustainability was like, it wasn't stylish and it had to look a certain way. And I was just like, no, I can a little bit in advance for that, because they still, the visual perception wasn't what was already available. So it's like, okay. But then I created pop-up shops, and to show these things. And from there, I realized that a lot of moms end up in this industry because women who become moms end up in this industry. Yeah. And they're all these individual people. And so they're not working together. So I created this mini festival and regular events where we could all gather, like women, empowering them. Women empowerment came in there also. Yeah. So from just supporting and being mindful and sharing. And also the kids, in Japan, it's just one thing after the other, was like leading that they're really under pressure from a very young age. They have to perform, they have to go to after school, they have to, depending on the kindergarten they go, they will be able to go into certain university. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's just the way it is. So they are lacking sometimes a lot of, this freedom of expression So in those pop-up shops, it wasn't just selling, it was connecting, but and for the kids, it was a lot of creative workshops. I brought in these creative people and it was really beautiful. And from there led another thing. I realized that there was nothing for the moms, There was moms very much in charge, or at the time of kids, a little bit more. Now men are more and more involved, which is amazing. It's really great to see. But there was nothing for the moms. So I created a booth, for mom self-care. Yeah. And it was all, of course, natural, organic, 3-in-1 brand, it just takes some time for yourself, There's things you can also share them with the kids because they were non-toxic, but it was something for you. And then, and from there I grew into creating wellness events, experiences. So I invited coaches and specialists in. So I was more the host. I wasn't the coach. I was the one organizing and getting the community going and together. And so I rediscovered, yoga, and I rediscovered these different, my passions that I was too busy to realize I had, too busy. We're always too busy, to do things. And it's just that happened really. So I did my coaching courses and everything, and practice it, and when I moved to Paris, I didn't have that community connection. I was like 15 years down back in Paris. A lot of people have left. Everybody, it's just different. So energetically, how much time could I invest, and did I want to invest socializing? I mean, because I'm very much of a mom. It's Abi and the kids, and I love being with them and spending time with them, and also transitioning them from living in Asia to Europe. I really wanted to be there, so I didn't have so much spare time to explore at the time, the community here. And so that's where I shifted online too, because like-minded people, I mean, we are connecting. You're in Bali, I'm in Paris, we connect, and that's amazing. That's one of the benefits of these of internet and the social media. And we spoke a little bit before our interview about the possible negative impacts of what we have, of the resources, but focusing and using them in a positive way is just marvelous.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love also that your journey was, like you said, there were different phases, going from the modeling, then making that big move. It sounds like quite a big shift, and move to Japan, where you didn't necessarily have that network, but your interests always lay in healthy living, sustainability, like you said, really living as cleanly as possible. And that was like always a focus for viewers, and it just kind of showed up in different ways. By then, first creating your products and things like that, then creating the workshops, and then only going into the actual one-on-one coaching, versus many other people have had some like hard kind of transitions from like the company closed down that they're working from, when they got retrenched, and then they were like, what do I do? Okay, I've always been passionate about this, or people have always come to me for this, I'm going to go into this. But for you, it's like you said, it's almost always been a running theme, and it's just kind of gone to different phases of how it gets shown, which I think is a really awesome lesson for people, in that it doesn't, even if you really care about people and work with people, you don't have to go straight to one-on-one coaching. There's so many other ways you can do it. Like you were saying, products, you host the events, you bring the people together. It can be shown in so many different ways.
Yeah, and I do like I do love to nurture individual, your authenticity, your individuality, and so on. But in the end effect, it also has a major effect on the community, and who, just simply the people around you who you're living with. If you're feeling better and you're more aligned and you feel more fulfilled, it's also you're showing how it can be done, and opening the door for others to do the same, to take self-care. And self-care is, these limiting beliefs we grew up, or we sometimes think that, we grow up with things that we should put ourselves last, and so on and so on. And so I really consciously made a decision to build the pillar, my stability, on myself. Which is what I didn't do for many years. I had from a young age, I had a life partner, and who I made my main. So I think that was one of the major lessons. So I stopped going with the flow a little bit. Going with the flow is great, but then at one point it's the awareness and conscious awareness of, okay, wait, what works and what doesn't, and it's it can happen at any time. Some people call it midlife crisis. It happens at 30 or 45 or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really have an age. And then when you feel better, also, I think that it's so important, because you raise the vibration. You raise the positive vibration, and then we make better choices. I mean, that is my wish, that my clients make better choices for themselves, but also for the environment. Like just naturally. Whatever we put on our skin, 26 seconds later, it's in our bloodstream.
Yeah.
So imagine how maybe then also people think what they put down the drain, you know, and all these little things that of awareness without lecturing or anything. It's just everybody has their personal experience and needs to have their time where they click or what works for them or what's possible in their life and situation. And it's interesting to see them grow and guide, and even myself continuing to explore different techniques and tools.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah, I think something people watching will be really keen to hear more about is when you spoke about you moved your focus to the hosting events, bringing people together. How did you kind of go about doing those type of things? Like, how did you start attracting people? What was your kind of process or thinking there almost? How did that kind of come about?
Interesting. Good question. How did I do that? I was working in PR before, and I was really very sociable and very sociable. I literally just used social media, but also word to mouth, and working with these different coaches. They had also their community. And it was then about sharing communities, a bit like when it was the 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 or the pop-up shop. They came in and they shared their communities too, without just naturally. I don't really have a tool where you can say, or a step by step guide. It was just deciding what to do and then sharing and seeing what resonates and creating more of that, because that's and it was more experiences rather than having just come for a yoga lesson. It was a yoga lesson on a rooftop where I was growing my own vegetables, and so I used stuff for a breakfast, organic breakfast after. They had an experience. Also could look into a little bit of urban gardening and from there, how to cook and so on. It's just different things. Yeah.
I think there's definitely a few golden nuggets in there, especially how you said, I just had this network. I reached out to other instructors, or I let other instructors know what I was doing. But I think that's something very good to keep in mind is if you're wanting to host these events for certain like-minded people, it's also thinking who potentially connects a lot of those people, who's almost like a hub. So speaking to other yoga instructors or Reiki masters or crystal therapists or breath workers, because they have their communities, like you're saying, and they're all going to be like-minded in how their minds work and what they're trying to achieve with themselves. And there's a theme there. So connecting them can make it easier to kind of reach out to many more people if you want to create this event and bring people together into one room, as opposed to just who do I directly know.
Yes, totally. It all works. It's all group work. It all takes a village.
Absolutely. And now for you, kind of how have things developed? So you said you went more you've moved to a more online focus. You've quite recently released the pajama yoga. That's obviously quite relevant to the times. Like, how do you kind of go about thinking about introducing these new things? Because I'm sure there are people watching who started out as maybe breath workers or in one certain space, and they want to develop, they want to give more. How do these new ideas kind of come to you?
I have so too many new ideas.
Just a running to-do list.
So I journal them out. I get them out of my system, but I journal all the time for other reasons too, just mindfulness practice. But I think it's really important to explore, and try things out without, from personal experience, without investing a lot into new websites and so on. Just communication is key. Like get into the groups and chat and put yourself out there and just sharing what in your authentic and caring way. And then invite them to come and explore an event or an online whatever it is that you want to do, a breath work or experience. And from there, you know, you spend time to afterwards when you know what's happening, you know, what's working, and spend your time to create maybe a, you know, a website and a platform and so on.
Yeah.
Because we often start with that first, right? We often start, we want to, yeah, like the storefront, and then the content is maybe not what people want.
Yeah, it sounds almost like taking the not old school approach, like taking the more like forum approach of you just posting like, hey, I've been reading this awesome book, or I've been trying this new thing. It's been super awesome for me. Has anyone else tried this? Just like those type of putting things out into the world that you're trying, that you're thinking about, and getting those conversations going and see who else it resonates with.
Yeah, you share your skills with the passion that why did you learn those skills? Why did you learn graphic? You know, just remind yourself, you know, because that's more resonates more than sometimes, you know, when we become a new coach or so, and we're like, we love these different techniques and these terms, but it doesn't resonate to people, right? Because it resonates to coaches because we know, so it's just the why. The why is more important.
Yeah, absolutely. It also brings your character in, your personality in. It's like, why for you? Because many people can say learn guitar or learn yoga, but if it's because you were looking for something to help you through a traumatic experience, or you heard this song on the radio when you were a kid and it was always your dream to learn that one song on guitar, and that's why you started, it becomes a completely different journey.
Yeah, that's so right. That's very well said. Yeah.
I think this has been really, really amazing, and people watching, I think, are really going to love the fact that you kind of almost took some of a reverse approach than a lot of other people I've spoken to, in that you didn't take a hard shift into one-on-one coaching and consulting. It was always a focus for you, just holistic living, and it's naturally kind of changed into that. I think people are really going to enjoy that. So firstly, I just want to thank you for your time. And secondly, if people want to reach out to you and see what you got going on, you also mentioned some of your products. Where can everyone find out everything you're doing? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I would say the best way is probably to sign up to go on my website, Abi's Journal, ABIS Journal, and sign up to the newsletter. I send, you know, without overwhelm, just sending news and tips and information out weekly. And then, I'll be introducing whatever comes up on my scent collection in there also very shortly.
Absolutely.
And reach out anytime if you have any questions. I'll be happy to hear from anyone. Yeah,
I think people also really love to see just the wide range of stuff you have on your website. You've got the journals, and you have these other wake up kits and things like that, and sleeping kits, and it takes you definitely on a real journey. So I want to thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Automator series as much as I enjoyed having it. And there are two things I want you to do now. I want you firstly to follow me on YouTube, get that subscription in, because you're going to see all the new episodes popping up in that case, and you can stay on top of the series. And the second thing is, I want you to reach out to me. If anything we discussed on the episode today resonated with you in regards to potentially taking a jump into an online spiritual coaching business, or you really have a business and you're wanting to grow that out and you're feeling like you could be impacting a lot more lives, but you don't quite have the time right now, you don't quite have the freedom you wanted, and you don't quite have those systems in place, I want you to reach out to me. It's a no pressure, no strings attached. Send me a message on Facebook, LinkedIn, email, whatever you prefer, and we can just have a conversation and a bit of a back and forth in regards to where you're at, what you're looking for, and how I might be able to help you impact more lives with what you're doing.